I had an epiphany while watching your rundown here, Aaron, especially the rapid fire segment at the end of it there. And when we've talked about this journalist before, he's an independent journalist named Andy No, NGO.
That's correct. Yep.
And he has done yeoman's work exposing Antifa, for example, exposing
fake hate crimes.
Yep. And I believe he himself identifies as homosexual, doesn't he?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he has done a lot of work pointing out that there is not, like, you had that scene at a couple of Democrat debates ago where the thing was hijacked, trans people, black trans people are being murdered in the streets. Like, this is not happening. It's all fake news. He's debunked like all of these. And he tweeted out earlier today some polling data that I have shared. If you follow me on Twitter at Steve Deace Show, you can find it right there in my feed. And what it finds is that the only group in America that feels poorly about itself based on its racial identity are white, somewhat to very affluent leftists. And it's actually, I'm looking at the graph right here, it's actually not even close. Every other racial identity, ethnicity group in America has a positive self-image of that identity, well into, meaning that the mean is positive by double figures, the favorable to unfavorable. And then there's one that doesn't look like the other. Somewhat affluent to very affluent white leftists have a double figure negative view of themselves.
That's so surprising, Steve.
It is. And I think I'm on board with something has to be done with white America. I agree. White America is going to end this country at the way things are going here. I don't know where else to point the finger. It's pretty obvious. Literally every bad idea in this country, literally every single bad one. Well, Steve, what about Obamacare? Mitt Romney had that first. Every bad idea in the country right now that has gone, you're laughing. This is, I know it's kind of funny what I just did, which was, one of my 10 commandments of political warfare, reverse your opponent's premise and use it against them. But what did I say that is not true, though?
Can I put a even finer point on this?
Absolutely.
People are going to hear that and they're going to think, oh, Steve thinks because of the color of people's skin, that means they have bad ideas. No, it's just that most of the bad ideas come from people of what you just talked about.
These people have been completely and totally brainwashed. They're the ones that go to most of the universities. I've told they watch the cable news shows, guys. I'm just telling you, I see ratings. A black single mom in Atlanta, Georgia, isn't watching Don Lemon at night. I'm just telling, she's not watching that, because what we're up against here. And this isn't, by the way, this is not new. This is the same thing that happened with the baby boom generation. Their parents fought off a depression and then fought off the Japs and the Nazis and came home and spoiled their kids, had a bunch of kids and spoiled them rotten, wanting them to live a better life than the one that they had to live through with dust bowls and soup kitchens and food lines. And you're literally counting calories and rationing yourself in order to help fund the war effort. They wanted their kids to enjoy the bounty of what they had done as the greatest generation. And those kids went off to college in the 60s and said to themselves, this is what a terrible world this is, that they're starving people in China. By the way, they're starving because Mao is starving them. Did you know that? That's why they're starving people in China, because Mao, who's the fulfillment of the worldview you're being taught here at the corner of Haight-Ashbury, he's starving them. That's why they're starving in China. He's starving them. About 25 to 40 million of them, depending on the historic estimate you look at, in his first 4 years in power. He's starving them. That's why they're starving. But hey, we got starving kids in China, and my parents had a 2-stall garage. Something's not right about this. And this is where white liberal guilt began. It started there with the baby boom generation. That's what wrecked them. Not even the sexual revolution. They could have come back from that. This isn't, we're not the first young people that thought when our urges were at their absolute peak, let me act out on them. The old fuddy-duddy, puritanical, Judeo-Christian sexual ethics don't apply anymore. That's not new. It's not new. Wouldn't be the first generation to say, let me try licentiousness. And then when I got a little bit older and realized what the cost of that was, suddenly thought, that's a bad idea. Is that new in human history?
Not at all.
That's not new. That's not new. The problem is that generation, by and large, never came back home, but just stayed in Xanadu. Just believing, well, the world has to be this way. And if it's not, I will make it so. I'll go and make me a world like that. And they raise their children, me, and their grandchildren, you, Aaron, to think like that. And they send them to schools and colleges where this was reinforced repeatedly. And that the only reason the world is not like this is because of white people. And that what they were taught was true, albeit from the other side of the looking glass. All of your complaints and all of the ills and evils that you point to are because of the belief system that you are trying to force on the rest of us. It's not an ideology, it's a religion. It is a rival religion. And it's not even progressive, it's very regressive, because this is just the old paganism. That's all that it is. So I finally have come around. It is true. White people are the root of everything wrong with the country today. And their names are Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg. Those are just a few of the names.